Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's. At Local Joe's, we help local business. Hi, this is Chris Smith with Local Joe's.
This is City Pulse Newsmakers, a weekly look at the issues and the people behind them in Greater Lansing. Brought to you by City Pulse, Lansing's weekly alternative newspaper. And now, here's your host, City Pulse publisher, Burl Schwartz.
Good morning. This is the second of three shows we're doing with candidates for Lansing City Council. Will be on the ballot in November. We last week visited with the at-large candidates. This week we have the candidates in the first ward race. With us are the incumbent, Jody Washington. Welcome back to the show, Jody.
Thank you, Burl. It's always a pleasure.
And a challenger I'm eager to get to know, Shelley Davis-Melock. Shelley, welcome to the program.
Thank you, and thanks for having me on.
And I'm pleased that Todd Haywood from City Pulse can join us this
Thanks
week
for
as
having me.
well. Todd's growing out some hair on his face for a part in the Diary of Anne Frank. This is a free plug. And I want to start with Shelley because we really don't know you nearly as well. I'd like to find out a bit of your biography.
Absolutely. My name is Shelley Davis-Melock. I've been in the Metro Lansing area since 1996. My most important job that I have is a mother of three. I'm a proud single mother of three. Two still at home. I have a 22-year-old who lives on its own. My background is I'm a small business owner. I also am adjunct faculty for a career college, and then I also work as a full-time marketing professional. Like I said, came to the Lansing area in 1996 and have been active in the business and volunteer community over my lifetime.
Where did you grow up, Shelley?
I grew up in Adrian, Michigan, which everyone has an Adrian connection one way or the other. So,
And what is your small business?
I own a small image consulting business. I really focus on image etiquette, job skills. I do a lot of work on civility as well, team building, and I've been fortunate to be able to travel across the state of Michigan and actually across the country, talking to groups large and small about those things.
Well, experience in civility, I'm sure, will come in very handy if you get elected.
I would agree. Thank you.
Jody Washington, I give you a minute or so to tell people about yourself.
Hi, I'm the incumbent. I have served the first ward for the past 4 years. I am a lifelong resident of Lansing, not Metro Lansing, Lansing. And so I have 4 generations of family here. I work for the Department of Corrections. I've had 36 years there. I did spend 25 years working part-time in an Alzheimer's unit in a local nursing home, which I dearly loved, but I had to quit when I was elected to City Council. I'm very, very proud of my voting record. We've seen a lot of changes in the first ward. I have to say it was very fractured when I took office, and we've come a long way, and I'm very proud.
Well, let's start with the progress you've seen in the first ward. Give us some examples.
Well, the thing I am most proud of is the collaboration that I've been able to build. When I came on board, the neighborhoods were fighting each other. The ANO was having arguments with the ANC, which are both incredibly important organizations. Since I've come on board, about 3 years ago, I started a monthly meeting, and at that meeting I have myself, I have the director of the Allen Neighborhood Center, the president of the Eastside Neighborhood Organization, I have the 2 county commissioners, Brian McGrain and Rebecca Bahar Cook, and House Representative Andy Shore. And we get together every month so that we can collaboratively deal with issues that are affecting mostly the east side, but that tends to grow to the further areas of our ward also. We've been able to get neighborhood groups together such as Baker Denora, Fabulous Acres, Potter Walsh. They are now working together and they are actually helping each other with events. Northtown is in there because if we chase a problem out of Potter Walsh, it's going to Northtown. And we've been able to have this collaboration so that we know what to look forward to. I've built an awesome relationship with the community policing officers. We've done a ton of work on the Kalamazoo corridor. And in fact, I canvassed the neighborhood the other day And without exception, everybody has said it is absolutely better than it was 3 years ago. Do we have a ways to go? Certainly, we have a ways to go. But those are the things I'm proud of. Great relationship with the Gillespies, Jim Herbert of Neogen, Joel Ferguson, Friedland Industry. I'm just very proud of this because none of this was happening when I came on board.
You speak of great relationships, and also you meet monthly with Representative Shore. How
I do.
often do you meet with Mayor Bernero?
I have requested 2 meetings with him. I met with him twice, and there has been nothing else.
And the 2 meetings in the course of your 4 years
Yes,
in office.
yes, sir. Absolutely.
He granted you the meetings that you wanted.
He did.
So
He did.
Is there some reason you haven't asked for more?
I think we all know I'm not his favorite person. Let's just put it out there. And I'm not even saying that like it's a bad thing. For whatever reason, you know, he has chosen to be a rather obstructionist with me. I thought we had a good relationship before I joined council. I actually worked on 3 of his campaigns. I've worked collaboratively with him on a few things. But, Burl, at the end of the day, my relationship with Virg Bernero does not affect my job on council. We have 3 separate branches of government, executive, legislative, and judicial. I'm in the legislative branch. He's in the executive branch. And, you know, we work on things that he sends. I have never been an obstructionist for anything he has sent forward, unless I had an ideological issue with it, like the 20% raise. Other than that, everything's been fine.
Let me ask Shelley, I know the mayor has been going to doors with you. Tell me about your relationship with him. How did your decision to run for office come about?
My decision to run for office came about of my own volition. I'm one of those people that I like to jump in and roll up my sleeves and be part of the process. I'm proud of my endorsement from Mayor Bernero. Did not know him before. I mean, knew him on the periphery, obviously, because he's the mayor of Lansing, but did not have a personal relationship with him before I ran for office. But fundamentally, we believe we believe the same thing in terms of job creation and economic development. He has come out and knocked doors with me on, I think, 1, maybe 2 occasions, but at least 1 that I can remember. You know, the mayor is the mayor of Lansing. He's someone that we have to work with. He has a strong personality. Stylistically, we are different. I don't know if we agree on every issue because I haven't sat down and asked him what he thinks about every issue. But what I can tell you is that in job creation and economic development, we do agree on those things. And at the times that I don't agree with the mayor, I have no problem being an independent voice and letting him know that I don't agree with him. I believe that we need to take information from everyone, including the mayor, including the business community, including the neighborhood, to make sound decisions based on all of the relevant data.
Before I turn things over to Todd, have you disagreed with the mayor and face to face, and how has that gone?
Have I disagreed with the mayor face to face? I would say that we certainly have some challenging conversations, or have had some challenging conversations from time to time. I'm the sort of person, I don't take things personal. I don't make things personal. That's because of my business background. We've been able to have difficult conversations and come through that and work through it. But yeah, and I think that there's probably more of that to come if I am elected to council.
Todd?
So I'm going to ask you, because you're new to the city of Lansing. You've been in the metro area, but you've only been in Lansing for just about a year, if that's correct. Are you involved in your neighborhood organization?
My neighborhood organization is building right now, and as soon as I moved into the Groesbeck neighborhood, I reached out because that's something that I wanted to be part of. You absolutely press on an important point, and one that I know people are talking about. I have been a resident of Lansing for just 1 year. I'm proud of the fact that I'm a resident of Lansing. I went through a divorce and I had to make a decision about where I wanted to move my family, and I could have gone anywhere. You know, the fact that I've been here 1 year, yes, my address is 1 year old, but my commitment to Lansing has been ongoing since I moved to the metro area in 1996. From the boards I serve on the McLaren Greater Lansing Healthcare Foundation Board. I'm a standing member and past board member of the Junior League of Lansing. I volunteer for the VOA. I volunteered for Habitat for Humanity. I volunteered my personal time in Lansing Eastern High School and in Atwood Elementary. So I take exception to the fact to say, oh, just because you're new, you're not Lansing enough to represent the citizens of Lansing. I think that my commitment, my ongoing commitment, has shown, and I'm proud of the fact that I've always been a supporter of Lansing and will continue to. I've never felt more at home than I have in the city of Lansing, and I chose to live here. The reality is that our population, for the first time, has stabilized. It has been declining, and I think that when you have people that choose to come into Lansing, who choose to set permanent roots, you should embrace them and not say, you're not Lansing enough to be part of the solution.
One of the most important East Side issues right now, you mentioned Eastern High School. Jody, if I understand it correctly, and part of asking about it is I want to make sure I understand it correctly. I was under the impression that the school board said it would not sell Eastern to somebody who's going to tear it down.
Correct.
Now the latest story is Sparrow wants to buy it, but it may demolish part of it.
Correct.
What is going on?
Well, what's going on here, Burl, is the school board actually just approved for the superintendent to go into negotiations with Sparrow Hospital to purchase that property. I am requesting that they not sign anything with Sparrow until after the bond initiative goes through, because if we sell it to Sparrow and the bond initiative doesn't go through, then we're at risk of losing our high school altogether on the east side, which is critically important to the stabilization of that area.
So let me understand, are you opposed to it being sold to Sparrow?
Absolutely not. If the bond proposal goes through.
And if it goes through, what will the bond proposal
What the
allow?
bond proposal will do is Fairview School will be demolished and a new school will be built pre-K through 8. And then we will put additions onto Pattongill, which will become Eastern High School. Now, funding is low. We all know it's been cut, which my opponent does marketing for a for-profit K-12 Inc., which siphons money from these schools into a for-profit company. So I kind of see this as an issue. When we are fighting so hard on the east side to keep our schools, they're so incredibly important. But I'm not opposed. There will be a caveat that they keep the historical facade, which I think is really important in that area. And then, of course, the property to the north, that is Pennsylvania and Orchard, that will hopefully, if the bond goes through, what that will be, because they cannot sell it, that's actually state property that was given to the school district, so that can't be sold. That will become the football soccer field, and it will have a track that runs around the football field, because I wanted to keep the track.
So is the only thing that would have to be saved is the facade?
Correct. They can do things on the inside, and this is a huge issue on the east side, as you said. Right now, people are really, they wanted the building restored. They wanted upgrades to that particular building to keep the high school. It's not going to happen. That's off the table. But we do have other options, but we really need to see what happens with the bond.
Are you satisfied with just saving the facade?
You know, Burl, can I be honest? I'm an Eastern grad. My son graduated from Eastern. If the building can be used, and I so much appreciate our partnership with Sparrow, if we can keep the historical value of the facade and keep it how it is, I'm okay with that.
Okay. Shelley, your thoughts on Eastern, and also if you'd like to respond to what Jody said about your client.
Yeah, first, I'd like to respond about the fact that I do work for an online educational provider.
Who is that?
That's K-12. That's absolutely no secret. I'm not running as an employee of any organization, whether it's my small business, the organization that I work for full-time, or the college that I work for. I'm running as a citizen of Lansing, and I want to be very clear, I'm not anti-education. I'm a product of public school. My children go to public school.
Where?
My children go to East Lansing Public School because they're residents of East Lansing.
Jody, where did your children go to school?
Lansing.
My children are residents of East Lansing. I have primary custody of my children, but when I went through my divorce, my ex-husband and I had to make a tough decision when I moved to the city of Lansing about what we wanted to do with our kids. They grew up in the East Lansing School District. We thought it was in the best interest of our children to keep them in the East Lansing School District, to have that level of stability. And to be honest with you, I don't believe that I'm the only person who's running for council or current council members that have students that go to school districts outside of Lansing. The fact of the matter is I don't do school of choice for my kids. My kids go to a school in a district in which they are residents for. in terms of Lansing Eastern. Obviously, I'm new to this whole situation in terms of running for city office. I've read some things in the paper. I believe in having open and collaborative conversations with the school board, keeping those doors open. Lansing Eastern has been in our area for a very long time. I have friends and former family members who graduated from Lansing Eastern. As I said, I volunteered in the Lansing Eastern School District, so I think that's something that we have to work through thoughtfully and collaboratively.
All right, Todd?
I want to follow up. The K-12 does cyber schools. That has been criticized as undermining public education and funding. Do you defend that? Do you say that it's not?
I'm not here to speak on behalf of K-12 whatsoever. I'm here to speak on being a resident of Lansing
So in
who's
your
running
opinion,
for public office.
in your opinion, your employment with an organization that has been accused of undermining public funding for public education has nothing to do with the election, and people shouldn't pay any attention to that.
In my opinion, I'm running as a citizen of Lansing, the city of Lansing. I do have a professional opportunity, and I believe in educational opportunities.
Okay. I would also like to ask, we have a problem with heroin. We've been writing about it quite extensively. What do you both think we can do from city council perspective to address the heroin crisis?
Well, I have had conversations with people from the Ingham County Health Department. I do understand that there's an interdisciplinary task force that's been put into place. They've met once. They're trying to see exactly what the situation is, assess it, where the gaps are. Heroin isn't a Lansing problem, it's a nationwide problem. That's something that we really have to be aware of. In terms of city council, I support programming and compassionate programming that would help people who want to get out of the cycle of addiction. I think it's very difficult to get out of the cycle of addiction without intervention, but I think that we have to rely on those partnerships with the task force, with the city, with our county, to make sure that we first of all have an understanding of what it is we're dealing with and the best course of action to move forward.
Jody?
This topic is deeply personal to me. My older brother died of a heroin overdose. So this is very personal to me. This hits families at every level, and it tears a family apart and it tears the community apart. I watched my brother suffer. He got into the cycle of self-medication from an amputation and pain, which we are seeing so many people become addicted. My answer to this is there are some initiatives out there that I am highly in favor of. There's one right now that Mayor Bernero and Chief Yankowski are working on to, if people want to come and surrender and ask for assistance for their addiction, that be allowed to be done. I think there should be absolutely
not be arrested.
Not be arrested, and that we should seek every way possible to help these individuals with their addiction. I think that is a great initiative. Another thing is, as Todd had mentioned at one point, is I do believe in a needle exchange. I love life, and I don't think anybody should have criminal charges for giving out these clean needles and helping these people while they are in the ravages of these addictions. My brother, had he not died of the heroin overdose, he would have died of hepatitis C from a dirty needle. This is a huge problem. We need to fund these resources, and I know that has to be done at the state level. And every time we turn around, mental health and other social programs are being cut. We have got to knock down the doors of these legislators, and we have got to get funding for these programs, and we need to help the families. And
Couldn't something be done, at least countywide? We now have all this money that isn't being used for the Ingham Health Corporation.
The problem with that money, Burl, is in fact, I just read today where they did finally take the vote and they're putting $1 million here, $1 million here, and $1 million here. But this issue affects people at all levels, and for any of this money to be used, it has to be used for a certain segment of society, which are people that don't fall under any other programming. And I would like to say one more thing. I think we need to quit punishing the addicts and let's start going after the people that are profiting from making these people addicts. And I don't care if it's the physician that is overprescribing these prescriptions that are making people turn to heroin, or if it's the drug dealer on the street. The people that are addicted, we don't know their stories. They are victims of somebody's profit, and I think it's high time we attack it socially, criminally, and I'm not talking marijuana, I'm talking heroin, and help these people.
Shelley, turning to another subject, the Lansing Board of Water and Light. I'm sure if you're out knocking on doors, you may have heard people aren't excited about even studying whether it should be considered for sale. What are your thoughts on that study?
Well, first of all, I support the study. I support looking at the Lansing Board of Water and Light. I support looking at all of our city assets. You're absolutely right. When I knock doors, I have yet to come across one person at all that says,
Yep.
let's sell the Lansing Board of Water and Light. It's just not the
And
case.
you're not saying let's sell it either, are you?
Absolutely. I would not make any decisions without data. I think it's absolutely reckless. But it is a source of pride for the citizens of Lansing. They do provide us with quality service at a reasonable price. But yes, I think that looking at that and other assets is important. But I'd be very hesitant to make a decision to sell the Lansing Board of Water and Light at this point whatsoever.
Jody?
Well, I have many thoughts on this issue. I am absolutely, totally against selling the Board of Water and Light, and I will never cast a vote to even put it on the ballot. And I'll tell you why. First of all, nobody's interested in the water and steam. They're only interested in the electricity, which is our moneymaker. We have $280 million out in municipal bonds that cannot be paid off by a company that might purchase the Board of Water and Light. We would still be stuck with that $280 million in bonds. And furthermore, I don't think you make a one-time sale of the gem of the city and have one-time infusion of money because you want to pay off something that I haven't gotten clear data on what the healthcare legacy is, and this is what the mayor has been talking about, using it to pay it off. He says it's $600 million. I'm not sure. I have not seen clear numbers. Another problem with this is historically what has happened is once a municipal utility is sold, residents see their rates triple. I don't think that's a good thing. And I think for businesses, for residents, to have a municipal utility is paramount. And as far as studying, in fact, I felt so much for that. I worked closely with Councilman Delgado, and we led the charge on overriding the mayor's veto to do away with the Inspector General and have a true independent audit. And thank goodness our colleagues voted unanimously with us. But having said that, it's just not an option. I don't think it's good business. As far as having a study of all of our assets, I'm a little frightened that we don't already have that. How many years has this city gone on and not known what their assets and the depreciation value of all these assets are? I mean, any business knows what their assets are, and all businesses have a depreciation schedule. I'm concerned that we don't already have this.
So you would support the study of all assets, including the Board of Water and Light, to ascertain that depreciation.
I think it's just business 101. I'm stunned that we don't have it, and I was appalled when this started coming out.
So you support the study, but you would never vote to sell it?
I don't support the study
you
to
do
sell
not
it.
support the
Absolutely not. I support knowing what our assets are. I support having a depreciation schedule on all of our assets. I support an operational study of the Board of Water and Light. They already do a yearly financial audit, but I will never support even considering selling.
Even if the study says this makes sense?
Well, they'd really have to hammer me with it because national statistics are showing it's never worked, so they would have to show me.
So I wanted to do a follow-up with you, Shelley. Jody mentioned needle exchanges. Would you support a needle exchange?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree with needle exchange. You know, as she mentioned, you know, there's other implications when you're using dirty needles in terms of disease, infections, etc. I think that that's something that we should support at the countywide, at the citywide level, wherever the resources are available. And I don't think that we should punish people who are helping exchange those needles. I really don't.
And then sort of my last question, I think, too often in campaigns people get negative. So what I'd like is to know, what are the qualities that you admire about Councilmember Washington and vice versa?
Sure. Who do you want to go first?
Whomever.
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
I don't know Shelley. I've never been involved in anything, and like she said, she's been in the city a year, which is fine, but she seems like a really nice person. And, you know, and having said that, I'm happy to meet you, and I hope we have a lot of interaction in the future.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Same thing, first time I've met Jody. I admire any woman who has a commitment to public service for her community. I admire that, and I think that that's something that she should be really proud of, and something that I think is a testament to the person that she is.
Todd, you're for a few more days a resident of the east side of the First Ward.
Yes, I am.
Are there things on the east side that, hey, you know, what about this?
Well, I think one of the big issues is the FEMA grants that were supposed to be used to be purchasing properties in the Urbandale area. We have not seen a whole lot of movement on that. Do we know why? Do either of you know why?
I don't know why. That's something that I'm studying right now. I fully agree. If there's resources available, this is something that we need to move on. I know it was one of the questions that you sent us as well, and it's something that I'm spending time looking at. But I know that this is absolutely an issue that needs to be addressed.
FEMA has been an absolute nightmare from the jump, and a nightmare. They did give us grants to move houses and to make houses that are flood proof, which would mean moving the heater up to the second floor and things that wouldn't go underwater. I know the area Todd lives in, and that is a very problematic area. And we don't have money to buy houses. I can't tell you what they did with the FEMA money. I know to buy flood insurance is cost prohibitive in that area, and I'm all in favor of looking at different options.
Let me ask you about CATA's proposal for rapid transit on Michigan Avenue, which, albeit not going to be necessarily a huge local expense, is still going to be a huge federal expense. Is it worth the money? Does Michigan Avenue really need buses that run a few minutes faster?
Burl, it's $154 million in federal taxes, and I'm aghast when I think of things that this money could actually be spent on. However, having said that, I think the studies have to be ongoing. I'm not sure it's Michigan Avenue is the right place. I would like to see better public transportation because I do use it throughout the city and not concentrated on just one street.
Shelley?
Well, first, I think it's going to be a bumpy ride coming down Michigan Avenue, right? That's certainly something.
Fix the roads first.
I mean, that's certainly something that needs to be addressed and people are talking about. I do support the BRT. I support the notion of bringing people into Lansing. You know, when we get more people into Lansing, they're spending more dollars in Lansing, they're infusing money into the economy. So it is something that I'm supportive of.
We're about out of time. Shelley Davis-Milak and Jody Washington and Todd Haywood, thanks very much. We'll be back next week with the third ward candidates, and also if you tune in the Impact at 10:30 this morning, I'll be interviewing State Senator Curtis Hertel. Nice. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.